The purpose of today's video is to discuss how life really is in Phuket.
The good, bad, and ugly of living in Phuket. So let's start with the ugly, the corruption. Just like any third world country on this planet, it's not hidden in Thailand either. So if you're coming and you happen to have an interaction with the government authorities, for example, you want to make a driver's license, or you get stopped by a traffic cop, there'll be corruption on each and every step. So that's point one.
Just as well as a foreigner, you are seen as a walking ATM here. Everything costs double, triple the price for you. Everywhere you go, people would try to take advantage of you. You may not see it as being expensive, coming from Europe or US, but you are paying a lot more than average people.
And it will start affecting your budget in
the long term.
In a long run. Just like I said before, if you're coming here for a holiday, it's very different. It's going to be a complete different experience.
And some people might justify saying how locals do not earn as much as you do, but it's not about that.
It's about fairness.
It's about people taking advantage of you.
Me paying 500 baht to get my phone back, and this incident occurred a couple days ago, wherein we were coming back from Keron Beach, back our home, and Maria was in pain. As you know, she's 8 months pregnant, and I happened to forget my phone. So long story short, I found his contact details. Then I called him up and I asked him, hey, I've left my phone. First, he tries to deny that he hasn't seen my phone. I managed to remotely ring my phone because I've got those tracking softwares on the phone. So I remotely rang it when he was on the phone, on the call with me. And the phone rang. And so he couldn't deny. So he said he does have it. But then he started asking me questions as if it was my fault or I deliberately left my phone behind. He did not want to give the phone back to me. I could just tell. I did not record it, the whole interaction, but the question he asked me was, why did I forget my phone? Why did I forget my phone? Excuse me. So I decided to call the tourist police, which is a service Thailand have offered to the tourists coming in the country. So I did not like the fact that he was trying to extort the money. I would have given him some money for for the trouble I put him through for bringing back my phone. But when he asked me for money, and in such a way that I felt being clearly blackmailed and extorted. So I called the tourist police and I explained the situation, explained the whole conversation, told them everything. And their answer was that pay him the money or go to the police station and pay the money there. You have to pay the money.
The bad thing about the whole situation was that extortion was being supported by the local police.
And I'm not saying 500 baht was too much. All I'm saying that no one or nothing could have stopped him even asking for 5,000. You do not want to be in a situation wherein you cannot go to a law and order authority and feel helpless. That was one of the ugliest experience I had since I've been in Phuket. Going through the whole ordeal, I know that he did not want to give me the phone back. He wanted to extort money. He initially denied to having the phone until I rang it remotely. And when he got caught, then he tried to extort money. And that's the short story. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So the bad bit about Thailand is it's humid. For me, it's okay. But for a person like Maria, who's coming from a cold city or a city with very minimum humidity, it's very hard.
And being pregnant didn't help. Some people like it hot, some people like it cold. I did not come from a tropical weather. I did not come from a tropical climate. I can't go out. Mostly I just stay in a room under the AC, and that's the only way I can I
She
was
can
able
survive.
I was able to survive through 7 months of pregnancy here.
This video is only about our life in Phuket, not in Thailand, because I know northern part of Thailand is way cheaper than the southern part, and primarily because Phuket is focused on tourism. People may assume that being in Thailand, Phuket may be cheaper.
And talking about prices, as they're not cheap, you would expect a good quality stuff, but it is extremely low quality here.
Everything else, like I said, the dairy, the meat, and other stuff is pretty much on par with Sydney. And now that we've been around a couple countries in past couple years, I don't, I wouldn't call Thailand as cheap. I think we still pay uh, more than or around close to $3,000 to stay here every month. That's our expense.
Yes, and we don't really do as much. So the main thing in Thailand, in Phuket especially, is that you do not get value for your money. You pay a lot, but the quality of everything you get is extremely low.
Yeah. How expensive can it be? So if you go to a cafe in Sydney, I think the coffee is about $5 to $4 to $6, depending on the coffee you drink. That's the same price you're going to pay in a cafe in Phuket. It depends what kind of lifestyle you want to live. If you are looking for the same lifestyle you're living currently in Sydney and you want to replicate that lifestyle in Phuket, I'll tell you that you're going to pay, if not more, then pretty much the same as you are paying currently in Sydney. Alcohol is expensive. Wine is super expensive. And you do not even get good wines. So things like that, and these things you realize and you come across later when you spend some time, when you're living your day-to-day life. That's when you start noticing these things. Now, this is when it comes down to personal preference. For me, I like the nature. I like the quiet, the slow, the peaceful, tranquil atmosphere, and I like the slow life. I do not mind. I'm not a person who likes to live in city between skyscrapers with hustling and bustling, streets and loads of crowd. I do not like that. But for a person like my wife here, it's opposite. She loves the nature,
I do love the nature.
but
Don't
from a
get me
distance.
wrong.
But from a distance.
Um, and it's a very slow paced life. If you're not into that, you're gonna get bored, and you're gonna get bored real quick. There's nothing to do in here. There's no cultural life at all. But another thing I wanted to talk about is that
I mean,
you
there is cultural
probably
life, but not as much.
don't know country, right? Another thing, probably a lot of people do not realize. I know I didn't when we decided to come to Phuket. Is that living in the nature, you come to very close proximity to
Wildlife,
everything nature has to offer, which are ants, which are frogs, lizards,
snails.
snakes, snails, and
So
that was not something I was ready for, and that shakes me
yeah,
every
so
time, every time, every time that happens, which happens a lot living in the house.
so I'm gonna make a quick point here. Like Maria just said, wildlife can be a problem.
Daunting.
Can be a problem to those who are not used to it. And I'm going to say yes, we have come across all that sort of wildlife, and mozzies and mosquitoes and ants are everywhere. But what you may see is snakes in your garden, and we recently saw a small snake, and they can be venomous. There are plenty of venomous species around in Thailand, and I'm not an expert on snakes, so we don't really know how to handle them. And it can be scary for some. So if you're not ready to encounter such a thing, I would say you might want to go and live in Bangkok or somewhere in the city, then coming down and living in Phuket. Because if you have kids, for example, and they want to play in the garden,
Or you're pregnant like I am.
yeah, you want to be careful around nature. It is wild. It's not an artificial garden. It's literally Phuket is just an island, and um, you will see in this video I'm going to show you that how only a certain part of Phuket is cluttered with buildings and stuff. Rest of it is all island and it's all luscious green. So you will expect wildlife, wildlife like reptiles and snakes and frogs. So be mindful of that if you are planning to come to Phuket and you want to live long term.
If it's important for you to go to museums, if it's important to you to be able to listen to classical music, if art is important to you, like it is for me, then Phuket is not the place for you. There's nothing, um, there's nothing like that in Phuket. Phuket is about nature.
Yeah, it's about relaxing. It's about peace. It's about quiet. It's about slow, just like a snail. Slow pace life.
Exactly. Probably do before you come to Phuket, just think to yourself what's important to you.
Yeah,
We
that's
haven't
simple.
done that.
We
That was our mistake.
we actually imagined how we spent our couple weeks in Thailand, and that was mainly around islands, and we loved it. The water is beautiful, as in water is warm, and you can swim any time of the year. So if you do decide to come to Phuket, do not expect um, do not expect life full of art and history. I mean, there is history if you go in Phuket town, but you're going to cover that all in one day. So yeah, be mindful of that. When it comes down to the shortcomings of Phuket, another thing comes to my mind is a lack of public transport. So there's not much here as a public transport. The options are very limited. There is just one option. The one option you have to travel locally within Phuket is taxis. Now there are services like Grab, Bolt, InDriver, and there may be others, and the normal taxis.
Which is good if you want to get from point A to point B. But if you want to travel to multiple destinations, it becomes a problem.
Well, it becomes expensive. Doesn't become a problem. You still have the comfort of ordering your cab on the phone and all that, but you will end up paying more. Now let's move on to the good things. You've spoken enough about the bad and the ugly. So let's talk about the good things.
Again, subjective, but if you are not enjoying winter, if you're not a person that loves snow, if you're not the person that loves cold, this would be the perfect place for you to stay because weather is pretty much above 30 degrees every single month.
Except for today, because when it rains like crazy. It rains for days, which
But
I
it's still
actually do not,
warm.
which I do not mind. It's the humidity which actually gets you. It's not the heat, it's the humidity. I forgot that we are talking about the good. But again, some people do not mind the hot and humid climate.
Since it's an island, you live there are countless number of beaches here, and regardless of the season, regardless of the month, you can always choose a place to go and swim. The sea is warm every single day, almost every single day, except for the days when it's raining. Beaches are clean mostly.
Another good thing about Phuket is the local produce, the fruits, the vegetables. I did mention that everyday living uh, is not as cheap as people may think, but at the same time, if you go and only consume local produce, which are grown and cultivated here in Thailand, the prices are cheap. So another good point is you can buy fakes. Adidas, Yeezys, Dolce Gabbana, Christian Dior, LV. I mean, you may be able to buy them in Western countries, but I'm sure it's very hard to get through customs if you are, for example, you won't be able to buy a Louis Vuitton bag on the street, but you may find that here very easily at a decent price. So if you are into something like that, Thailand is the place to be. Another good point is the nightlife, the street food, one thing which you would never ever see in Western countries. Phuket is the central biggest island in Thailand, and from here uh, you can take ferries and boats to different islands and go and explore. If you are into diving, scuba diving, if you're into snorkeling, any activities related to sea, you can do them here while being situated in Phuket. Being in Bangkok or any other city in Thailand might not provide you with such opportunities. And it's a perfect place to retire. So if you want to relax and do nothing, then Phuket is probably the place to be. This is our take on Phuket. I mean, if you're living in Phuket and watching this video, you may not agree with us, and that's totally fine because everyone experiences life differently, and that is what this channel is all about. This is about our experiences. Do you agree with everything we said, or you have a different point of view? And I would like to know. So put a comment down below if you have a different point of view. Tell us what you like about Phuket. Tell us if you've been here on a holiday, or if you want to come to Phuket for a holiday. If you are planning to come to Phuket, then this is the video for you. Go back and start watching the video from the beginning. We're going to make more videos about Phuket, our life in Phuket in general. We're going to do a cost of living where we're going to break down our expenses from rent all the way to groceries. We do keep a track, and we do not set a budget, but we keep a track of our expenditure. So we are going to break it down. We are going to tell you about how you can come to Phuket and how you can stay here long term. We are on a tourist visa, but there are many ways to stay in Phuket. All that in coming videos. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share with your friends and family. Obviously, if you do not agree, or if you do agree with whatever we said about Phuket, then put that in comment down below. If you think there are any more goods or ugly to Phuket or living in Phuket, then put a comment down below. If you think that we've got it all wrong, then put a comment down below. If you just want to say hello, then put a comment down below. And that's it from us. It's a life we have chosen, and we are embracing it. We're going to have our baby in Thailand, and we will also share Maria's experience as a would-be mother and going through this journey of becoming a mother in Thailand. So stay tuned. If you are an expecting mother and you are planning to come to Phuket, you might want to follow us. So give us thumbs up, share, and subscribe. So until then, see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Bye.